First, let's welcome in now Congressman McCormick from Georgia. He joins us now live from his office. Congressman, great to have you here.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
All right, I just wanted to get your reaction real quickly. President Trump talking about all the wins they've had this week, not only at the Supreme Court, but also we remember just on Saturday is when Operation Midnight Hammer took place. And I commented on X a little while ago, this is kind of like the complete polar opposite of Infrastructure Week during his first term. A lot of wins for President Trump this week.
Yeah, I'm sure he's hanging his hat on that. It's good to have unity as we progress towards what we think will be very good for America. The next thing is to deliver the big, beautiful bill. And if we can do that, I think American public will react very positively when they see the long-term effect of that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. I do, as a veteran, someone who's flown some pretty high-tension missions in combat before, a helicopter pilot, but I wanted to get your assessment on some of your congressional colleagues who are still pushing back on the assessment from President Trump that the Iranian nuclear program has been obliterated. This is Senator Chris Murphy talking about that. Take a listen.
I have now seen a lot of the underlying intelligence. I just left a briefing by the director of the CIA, Marco Rubio, and Pete Hegseth. Nothing I have seen or heard has changed my belief that we have likely only set back this program by months.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's biased. I think, once again, he's looking for any hole in the game that President Trump is playing right now. I think we all had the same brief. I know we all had. I watched him there at the brief. The unclassified part of this is that we know that they are going to have a very difficult time enriching further uranium, that they are going to have a very difficult time with even the idea of deploying nuclear weapons against both Israel and ourselves, which is the main thing. They had a policy where they were chanting death to America openly, and openly defying us by developing nuclear weapons even after pallets of cash were delivered by Obama, and Biden freed up more billions of dollars and allowed them to make more billions of dollars to develop nuclear weapons and deploy their terroristic weapons all over the world to our enemies, which, by the way, have resulted in about 1,000 Americans dying over the last several decades and really caused problems with Israel and other friends all around the world, including Ukraine. This country has always been outside the box, defiant, has won every negotiation up to this point because they get money, they get lifted sanctions, and they continue to develop nuclear weapons while they chant death to America, death to the great Satan, where Israel is the little Satan. This is finally slapping them down, putting them in their place, and even their people are going to be very, very hesitant to be openly against America in this very violent way. Although you'll see a few of them, I think the vast number of people in their government and their civilian populace won't want to mess with America anymore.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill. Just hours before President Trump made his final sales pitch from the White House yesterday, the Senate parliamentarian rejected a key Medicaid provision which would have cut Medicaid for illegal immigrants. There's been calls to remove the Senate parliamentarian or replace her with someone who's maybe more comfortable with Republicans. What's your read on that? And give us your progress report on the one big, beautiful bill.
So parliamentarians are supposed to interpret the application of rules like the Byrd's rule and stuff like that to whatever we're trying to pass. We were very careful. Of course, we had 14 months to prepare for this, to stay inside the Byrd rules, to consult the parliamentarian and on the congressional side to make sure everything was going to be able to pass. When we handed over to the Senate, I think they had about 4 weeks to do the same, and I think that's where they come up with some problems. On top of that, this parliamentarian was appointed by a Democrat and seems to be kind of leaning that direction. Now, I don't know if we want to start a precedent where every time we don't get what we want, we fire the person who's there and we hire somebody else, or we just overrule it, because Thune has the ability to overrule the parliamentarian, too. But once again, that sets a new precedence, and that can be used against you the next round when they come back in power. So it's a tough, tricky question. I don't have all the right answers because no matter what you do, there's going to be consequences. So I want to be measured in my responses. I kind of think through this and not fire without thinking about the downwind consequences of doing something too quickly. But I know what we came up with was very good. I would love to see the illegal immigrants lose their Medicaid provisions because that's not what the taxpayers' funds were ever supposed to go to.
That's true. And I think, there's consensus on that from most people who are actually paying their taxes that we shouldn't be paying for people who have no right to be here in this country to get medical care when it's so expensive for the rest of us. Congressman Rich McCormick, always great to see you. Take care.
Likewise. Semper Fi.